All right, it is that time. It is time to step into the pocket dimension and paint all the things with me. Excuse me. JP got rockets. Oh, something got in my throat just a moment ago. Oh boy. Excuse me. Beg pardon. Well, here we are, once again in the pocket dimension, and we are continuing on with our Gnoll Warband for A Song of Blades and Heroes. I have been assembling, or I should say, putting figures on bases over this last weekend. I didn't sleep very good the other night, so I was like, I just need something to do. So I grabbed out some more of these Bones figures out of the Kickstarters that I had, and I put together another little war band of these. What is it? 16 dudes? No, 12 dudes. So 12. So that's 4 archers, 4 dudes with maces, and 4 dudes with spears. So some little goblin dudes there from Bones, from Reaper. So doing that, and of course, if you are watching on the other platforms, Rumble and YouTube, hop over to Twitch, hit the big purple button down underneath the screen where it says donate to charity, and help me raise money for the 988 suicide and crisis prevention Lifeline. They do good work. They have a lot of resources that they can help people that are undergoing issues in their lives with, whether it's just lending a non-judgmental ear or getting them in touch with a local mental health care provider. And this is now November was Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. Basically, the last from September to November, we've had things like Mental Health Awareness Month, Suicide Awareness Month, and Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. I don't know what December is, but let's just call it potpourri, right? And let's just say, hey, this is I don't know. So I guess let's see, little dead air there. Sorry. Um, so with the holidays coming up, or in the middle of holidays, Thanksgiving was last week. Sometimes people have a hard time. They feel put upon. They feel like there's a lot of stress. There's financial obligations. People feel like they've got to buy things for people. People go into ridiculous debts. There's a lot of stress around this time of year where people are usually trying to put on a happy face about things. So, yeah, it's a bad time for people that can be prone to depression and anxiety and the like. So, take care of yourselves. If you need to hide out, hide out from the holidays, do so. Hide out from the holidays. There's nothing wrong. You don't have to do everything everybody tells you to do. There's a lot of traditions and a lot of concepts that people feel like they have to do, they must do. But you know what? You don't have to do anything. I'm talking to adults here. If you're children, I'm not really talking to children because none of this is made for children, but I'm sure there are kids that will tune in or maybe are in the room. Obey your parents. That's it. That's all I got to say. Sometimes you just got to go along with them. But adults are a different concern, all different creature altogether. Nobody can tell you what to do if you're an adult. If they're not paying your bills, obviously an employer can tell you what to do. You don't even have to do what they tell you to do. You may find some other line of employment, but as adults, we don't have to do things we don't want to do. So keep that in mind as you're going through the next few weeks. Just keep that in mind because if you need a break and you need to hide away from all the craziness that's going on, definitely do so. Take care of yourselves. Don't let other people's expectations of you um, stress you out. So, I'm going to pop out the chat here real quick. So I can see your smiling faces. Well, can't see your smiling faces, but you know what I mean. So that way I can interact with all you fine people with the chat here. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. I want to do this. And I want to shorten that up. I want to move this around. And I want to move... Oops. Doggone it. I want to bring this up. Bring this chat up. And over. Shorten that up. Put that there. And then the YouTube. One of these days I'll get Social Stream Ninja to work consistently correct. That would be nice. So anyhow, we'll go ahead and get everything set up here. Alright, so now I can see all the chats all the time. I got it all set up in the backstage here. Okay, so I stuck those guys on bases. The plan is over the next year is to complete little projects. I don't know how many I will get completed, but the urge is right. Get an A for effort if I can. So anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and continue to paint these gnolls. And yeah. So hopefully everybody had a good yet snowy day today. I know today was weird for me, I'll tell you that. I went out to do an inspection and I got stuck in I kind of fell off the side of the road for a little bit and had to get some help to pull me out. So just like with mental health, sometimes you need someone to help pull you out. But anyhow, go ahead and check that out. If you're watching the stream for the first time, thank you for tuning in. If you are on Twitch, of course, there is the little purple button down by the bottom right hand side of the screen. It says donate to charity. More than appreciated. We're almost halfway there. The goal is $250. We are at $116. And then that would be terrific. Then I have a friend who has merch, who has some t-shirts and stickers and the like. One of them is actually called Gnolly Things. Has a gnoll with like hair curlers in its hair. Thought that was kind of funny. And that is Patty's Parlor Games over on Fourth Space, whatever that is. I don't have the link right now. Anyway, check that out. Half of the profits until we reach our goal are going to go to our goal, he said. So, buy a cool t shirt and help the fundraiser. So, that's pretty much it. Today was weird at work. I got stuck after I did that inspection today. Um, had to actually have the customer tow me out. My van is not a 4-wheel drive van; it is 2-wheel drive. And then I thought I was victorious. I had a call where I installed a light and a dimmer, and I got a call just after dinner time. Evidently, the light has begun to strobe, which it's an LED, and it may have something to do with the dimmer. So, that's frustrating. And then, of course, I had some customers lined up already for tomorrow, but there was one of our other big corporate customers had a fire in their IT room, and yeah, so I got to go and repair that tomorrow. I'll tell you what, when it rains, it pours. You know, you think you're sailing along, everything's going great, and then boom, everything falls apart. So it was pretty epic today until it wasn't. All in a day's work, right? As they say. So if you're watching out there, why don't you hop in the chat and tell me a little bit about what you've been working on lately? Of course, next week will probably be my last streams for the year. I do take a break for the winter time. I may do a next week, and well, I was gonna say Saturday, but I've got things going on Saturday. I may do a stream on Sunday. I don't know. This Sunday. We'll see. We will see. All right. Cool. Looks good. I think I've got that all covered up. All the metallic weapony bits and armor covered up there. So, let's see. This guy, and then this guy right here. So they were interviewing the guy that owns Mythic Studios on Build Paint Play this week, or yeah, this week, tonight. Fascinating sort of a fellow. He took a interesting angle at his gaming. He decided, well, why are we focused on mostly European folklore and European history in our gaming? Maybe we should look at some of the other cultures around the world. I thought that's pretty neat. I definitely agree with that. I think it's pretty cool when we get a flavor of something that's not quite so Eurocentric and done with respect too. It doesn't lean into tropes and stereotypes, you know. Though for a fantasy game, and you're dealing with mythology, sometimes those tropes and stereotypes, they exist because there is basis in some of the folklore where we get some of those tropes from. So it's not all bad. It's not really an evil thing. It's just a matter of looking at it correctly and understanding it, recognizing it, and not leaning into it just because, because some of those things are misinterpretations of cultures too from outsiders. So, if you can look at something without the from a different perspective rather than the pop culture one, because some of those tropes weave their way into pop culture, especially things about Native Americans at times. I don't think, and I don't know that they're necessarily consciously disrespectful. I think it's just not understanding or thinking something is quaint. I think that would be it. Something is quaint and rustic, which leads into the noble savage trope, and I think that is one of the most highly disingenuous racial stereotype out there. The noble savage. And it kind of romanticizes things that were never meant to be romanticized. It's wrong. Because that particular trope could be used for anybody at any time in history, really. That's kind of the thing. That's why I think it's a pernicious viewpoint. I don't think it's fair. And it puts expectations on, it's a stereotype, and it puts expectations on the group of people that they're using it for. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. If you feel I'm wrong, hop in the chat. We'll talk about it. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not putting it out there the right way, but it's from a place of respect, where I don't think that the noble savage stereotype is is healthy. Well, I think it is a correction from maybe some of the other portrayals over the years. I think it is a correction, and I think that correction comes from a sincere place. I think it's just as mistaken as any other kind of a trope or stereotype. But that's just me. Maybe I'm wrong. If you think I'm wrong, let's talk about it. Help me refine my viewpoint. I appreciate it. Well, if you got me tabbed out and you're lurking, I appreciate the lurk. That's pretty cool if you are. This axe almost looks like a fireman's axe. It's kind of funny. The way it's kind of got a funny bend to it. So next week on Build Paint Play over on YouTube at 7 o'clock p.m. Tuesday nights is going to be John Nenas. You may know him as Ninjon. And they're going to talk about his Kickstarter for his color matching flashcards, or his color theory flashcards. So check that out. I think you'll really enjoy it. For sure. I always enjoy Build Paint Play. It's a great little show on Tuesday nights. It's kind of what it was the precursor to Build Paint Play, though, painting Happy Little Minis, that actually inspired me to start doing the stream. Because I had considered about doing maybe tutorials, edit tutorials and and I just could never find the time to really sit down and edit. But for streaming, all you have to do is turn the computer on and away you go. Hey, boo boo. Let's see what to do about that. Oh, he's got a little bit of metal on his arm, looks like here. And I'm not sure what this is over here. I'm going to say that this is probably molded leather, maybe. Looks like he's got some buttons on the bottom there. So we'll paint that up as maybe leather. Although it could be a metal cuff as well. I don't know. But this is definitely metal on his right arm there. And these are just tabletop quality. Not even my highest level tabletop quality. These are just going to get blocks and washes on it, I think. don't know. I always say that, but then I wind up going to a higher level anyway. I also say that I'm gonna make a short night of it, and then I wind up not making a short night of it. So, but I have a feeling I'm gonna have a very stressful day tomorrow, especially since I've got to put off a couple of customers that I had lined up for tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon. I tell you what, it's really tough being a one man show, a one man crew. It's a little overwhelming, frustrating. Dee, 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 dee. But it brings in the dollars. Speaking of bringing in the dollars, go ahead and hop over to my Twitch channel if you haven't already. And if you're watching in the VODs, hop over to my Twitch channel, because as long as the campaign is going, you can hit that button even if I am not streaming. You can hit the donate to charity button and make a donation to the 988 Suicide and Crisis Prevention Hotline. A little bit goes a long way. Our goal is $250, and we are at $116 presently. So if you donated $9, we would be exactly halfway there. So but I may cut things a little short tonight. I may only go till 10 instead of 11 like usual, just because tomorrow is going to be a tough one. I guarantee it. I hate to say it, but it is going to be a tough one tomorrow. So I'm not really sure where to go color wise with these guys. I mean, as far as markings on their fur, I suppose I could go ahead and finish their clothes. I've got their weapons blocked in. Anything that's metal is going to be. I've got undercoated in black, so that's good. So I guess I'd go ahead and maybe paint their loincloths a color. I don't know what color. This is a place where chat can help. What color should I paint these guys' loincloths? I think I could start out with red. Let's go with red. I think I'm gonna do a red team, blue team. Red, green, blue, maybe. So the Gnoll Shaman here, we'll name him Shane. Shane the Shaman. And that goes right there, I guess. We'll use some Vallejo dense red there. And we'll do his clothes, because He's got belts. He's got a belt with some pouches and different things like that. So we'll go ahead and, if we get paint on those, when we paint the next layer, paint his gear, anything that we get out of place will be cleaned up automatically. Okay, so he's got a little armor underneath this tunic of his, which I saw that strap underneath his arm, and I was like, what in the world? Where's that strap going? So he's got a little armor underneath his tunic here, it looks like. So some of what's going on here on this figure, like the the armored vest underneath the tunic, almost looked like this sculptor wasn't sure where to take some of his ideas here. All right, we'll let that dry up. Gray against red. OHIO. 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 Little Ohio joke there for you. Just a little Ohio joke for you there, folks. So we'll just do one dude out of each group with a different colored cloth here, loincloth, or whatever you want to call it. Tabard. Because I think that's not a bad idea. Because then you can group them up by colors or by weapon, however you want to do it. And it's just going to be subtle. I don't think I'm going to do all of the wraps. Like he's got an arm wrap here. I don't think I'm going to put that in red. I think I'm just going to leave his loincloth. Excuse me, red. So do that red there, and we'll do this guy here. We'll do this up in red. Now, because this is soft plastic with soft details, I think that kneecap right there, I think that kneecap should have been sticking out from underneath this kilt, or whatever you might call it. Get a little black in that red there and take it towards brown just a hair. It's not terrible. These are Gnolls. They don't have to be clean and sharp. Kind of dirty and gross works for them. I think that might have been maybe supposed to be his leg back there, but we'll just cover it up with. Here's the kind of the cool thing about Bones figures. You need to reach a spot, just move it out of the way. Can't do that. Well, you could do that with metal, but you'd have to bend it back. And if you already had paint on it, well, your paint's going to be messed up. But acrylic has some flex to it. Acrylic paint does, so you're okay. You're okay, kid. So there's 3 with red on them. Let's do blue now. Blue, green. Blue or green? Do orange. Orange is too close to red, though, I think. Of course, red, green, red, blue color blindness. That's not very fair to somebody that's playing the game, right? I don't know. knock yourself out trying to accommodate everybody. I'd like to figure out how to. I mean, I wouldn't mind accommodating people, but if they can't tell the difference between blue and red, um, you know, I don't know what other colors I can use. Because green would do the same thing. If I had green and red, then people would have problems with those too. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know the best colors to gray, gray and tan maybe. I don't know. You know what? I need to do some research on color blindness and see what alternate color schemes will work for people, because if I want to host games and I say the blue ones and the red ones, that's not fair to somebody that has blue red, blue green, green blue, green red, blue red colorblind. That's not fair. So how do I accommodate people? I mean, I've got different poses except for these three guys here, but each of these archers has a slightly different pose. So this guy has an overhand grip, this guy has an underhand grip, and this guy has a straight up and down grip. The two boss brutes here, this guy's got a axe and this guy's got a flail. Now their shields are the same, but this guy's head is a little bit bigger, and this guy's got more stuff on his belt too. So, like, he's got a couple of skulls and a knife, and this guy, he doesn't have anything on his belt. So there's a lot of distinction between those. So do I do light gray, dark gray? Do I do brown? Do I do tans? I don't know. If you are in chat, or if you're watching the video on demand and you're at this point and you're listening to me waffle on and on about color blindness and how I can accommodate players that have trouble seeing the full spectrum, let me know what you think. Do you have problems with colors? Because I want people to be able to play, and I want them to have a good time. I don't want them to feel lost or lose track of where they are. Hey, Midril. Waffle all day long. Thanks, Midril. Appreciate that. But I'm just not sure how to accommodate people with that need, you know. How you doing tonight, Midril? What are you working on? You working on some more space weirdos, little space marines, and Tau or 40K stuff? Or you trying something different tonight, this week? Hope you're doing well. Hope your family's well. How are you? Getting ready to do some Tau indeed. Nice, nice, nice. Anything big or some smaller guys? The Pathfinders are like 87 pieces each figure, or you work on a big Riptide? What is your main goal tonight? And are you working on them right now? Are you pre-gaming? Are you pre-gaming your stream tonight, Midril? Is that what you're doing? Doing well over here. Had a good Thanksgiving tonight. Will hopefully be progress on Farsight. Oh, very cool. Very cool. Farsight is one figure that I've never put in my collection. I do have some Tau, but I don't have Farsight. I'm not a big fan of named characters in general, personally. I mean, what I mean is I would use a named character, but I think I would try to personally. I would be one of those weird guys that comes up with an alternate figure to use, crafts my own somehow. But that's just me. I'm weird like that, man. I hear that takes away from the personal narrative. Yeah, yeah. And in third, fourth, and fifth, we didn't always have a figure for every named character in the book, so sometimes you had to come up with something, or you had an idea that you wanted to use something different. So I would use. I have my Space Marines are based on pirates, so my guy, I would actually use the Crimson Fists um, named character, but my guy had a chainsword a chainsword and a um, storm bolter, and the chainsword counted. I would count as a power fist. So I painted a different color so it would stand out differently from all the rest. But the idea was that the chainsword had a disruptor field around it, so it would hit like a power fist. So I used those rules. Nobody ever seemed to have a problem with me running it, especially since I had his storm bolter modeled correctly as well. So, but he looked like a pirate. He had the pirate hat on and everything. It was the head from the Empire Free Corp Company and Free Corp box. And so he had the pirate hat and eye patch. So it wasn't the world's greatest conversion, but it was my conversion, you know, and it told a story. I thought it was thematically more correct than um, a model of Pedro Cantor. Let's see. When I get to playing, I think I'll be doing the same. We'll likely wait until I have a feel for the army before getting too deep and making the lore. Yeah, sure, understand. Got to head into Lurkland. Excellent, excellent. Well, you feel free to lurk. Just hit that exclamation point lurk. Always good to hang and watch you paint and listen, though. Thank you, Midril. I appreciate that. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for popping in and letting me know you were out there. It's always a nice feeling. What was it Mr. Rogers used to say? It's such a good feeling. A very good feeling. Feeling to know that you're there. So, let's see. Blue, red, blue. Red, blue. We'll go with green, I think. And we're going to be using the Vallejo game Extra Opaque again. Midril has faded into the inky darkness to see and not be seen. So I think what I'll work on is getting a bunch of these little Song of Blades warbands worked up. See how many I can get done before the end of the year. Of course, like I said, after next week or the following week, I'm not sure which. I'll be taking a little break until after the first of the year Because everybody needs a little break. Everybody needs time to do some things they need to do. And I've got things I need to do around here. So. And of course, there is the. If you are watching on Twitch, if you're watching on Rumble or YouTube, hop on over here to Twitch and hit the little purple button. I know that most of the people that have tuned in tonight on Twitch have already hit the little purple button and made a donation for the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. If you would like to help us reach our goal of $250, of which we are at $116 of that goal, hop on over and hit that little purple button. It's for a very good cause. It's not a political cause. It's not a religious cause. It's not a causeway. I don't know. It's not anything that really I don't think anybody could have any kind of objection to. Hey, Midril, thanks for the $5. Appreciate that. Appreciate the $5. That's a grand total. I think that's a grand total of $10. Midril has in total has contributed to the 988 line. So Midril is tonight's hobby hero so far. Thank you very much for the donation there, Midril. Appreciate it. So I'm going to use I'm going to use green, I think. So blue, red, and green, which unfortunately may cause people with blue-green, red-blue color blindness some issues, and I apologize, but I don't know any other way to tell these guys apart. And I just haven't stopped. I guess I could stop and look it up. What colors are best for people with color blindness? Because it is a concern. There are people that actually there is a Twitch streamer or somebody that has streamed on Twitch from time to time. He hasn't been on for a long time. He kind of stopped for a while there. And he collects 40K stuff, and he builds the armies. And that's all he does is he builds. He doesn't paint because he's severely colorblind, he said. But he likes to do conversions, and he likes to build things. I mean, it's really cool. It's a way to engage with the hobby in your own way. And I think, to me, that is prime. Because he's not letting somebody else tell him, hey man, you're building them. How come you're not painting them? You should be painting them. You're only getting part of the joy out of your hobby by not having them painted. Well, if he can't see color very well, if the gentleman has a hard time seeing color, and he'd rather engage with his hobby just by building, let him. Everybody engages with the hobby their own way, and they get out of it. There's no prescribed way of doing the hobby, you know. There's some people, all they do is collect figures. They never paint; they just collect. Sometimes they leave them in the box or in the package. but they like the artwork of them. Some people will take them out and they'll ink them. They'll just put a heavy ink wash on the figure, and that's all they're interested in doing. Sometimes people will take an ink wash and then they'll take a buffing pad and they'll shine all the basically they're doing dry brushing on bare metal, so it'll get shiny on the raised parts and it'll be dull in the lower parts. So that's another thing. That's something else people will do sometimes. But there's lots of ways to do your hobby because it is your hobby. And nobody can tell you you're doing it the wrong way. Alright, so there's red, blue, and green. Red on this guy, so he's the leader. These two are the sub-leaders. So red, blue, and green on these three guys here. So I think I'll probably do blue and green on these guys here. Oh, looks like I missed some metal too. So that's what I'll do. Paint these. Put some green on this guy's little kilt here. But you know, the thing is you never know who is going through something. And there could be people that you think have it all together, but they are dealing with their own private war. You know, they might be dealing with anxiety or depression, but you see them, and you only see them for a few minutes each week, a couple of hours, whatever. Maybe you see them at school, or you run across them at work. Maybe you don't work directly with them. Wherever, maybe wherever you worship, you might see somebody that you think has got it all together. But you know, everybody has their own private war sometimes. We never know what people are dealing with. Depression, anxiety, frustration, misplaced guilt. Sometimes people blame themselves for things that were not their fault at all. They couldn't do anything about it. They couldn't prevent something that happened to them or to somebody else. Sometimes they take that guilt upon themselves, and it's not theirs to bear. Sometimes people have a hard time to forgive themselves. And that's what things like talking with a friend, talking to a stranger like you would find at the 988 Lifeline, listening without judgment. And that's the thing, is sometimes it's hard to talk to a friend because we know that our friends have standards, or sometimes our friends will try to find instead of remembering that they have two ears to listen with, sometimes our friends will say, well, what you should do. Well, what you should do. Or, you know what I would do in your situation. Well, you're not in my situation, so I don't want to know what you'd do in my situation. I needed you to listen. Now you're telling me how to handle the thing. Well, you didn't ask how to handle it. You just needed somebody to listen to. That's one thing that the 988 Lifeline has to offer, is a stranger. Sometimes it's easier to talk to a stranger than a friend or a family member. Believe it or not. So, there's nothing wrong with it, and there's nothing wrong with seeking help. It's like I said the other day, you know, if you have a heavy load to bear, if you're trying to move a big heavy couch or a refrigerator or something, and you feel like it's too heavy for you, well, what are you going to do? You're going to get help, right? So if you have things in your life that you just can't seem to bear your own self, nothing wrong with asking for help. I know people that have received help and they are better off for it. Probably saved their lives, you know. Or at least if they weren't feeling like doing themselves a mischief, as they say in Britain, um, at least it gave them another tool to cope with whatever they were dealing with. Gave them a little bit of a more, I don't know, stable, helped them become more sure of themselves. Because a lot of times that's what therapy does, is it helps people become more sure of themselves and their stances and their understanding of why they do things or why they expect certain things of themselves. It's another thing. Sometimes we have to watch our own expectations of ourselves. We sometimes compare ourselves to others, and well, just like painting miniatures, don't compare your work to other people's work. It's fine to learn from them. It's fine to take a lesson, and it's fine to increase your skill, but don't compare yourselves to them. I know what I want out of my painting. I similarly feel like I've learned what I want out of my life. Um, Finally, at 52 years old, I've sort of figured out what I want out of my life. And I'm still not sure that I have the right answer for myself, but I'm a lot happier now than I was when I was younger. Um, but some of that is listening to other people and talking to other people. Some of it's even just being there for other people that were having problems, you know, and listening. We have two ears for a reason. Listening is Sometimes listening can be hard, especially if you like to find solutions. You're listening to somebody, and you're listening, and you're hearing what they're saying, and your mind is processing it, and you're trying, thinking, well, maybe I can find a solution. Well, maybe they're not asking you for a solution. Maybe they're just asking you to listen. So always be sure to listen first. Ask questions afterwards. Sometimes we just have to keep our opinions to ourselves. Sometimes we can ask people questions to draw them out. Well, how does that make you feel? What do you think about that? Those are powerful questions to help people out with. But I'm not a therapist. Probably likely most of people that are watching out there aren't either. Um, and sometimes we might want to help our friends, but maybe it would be good for us to ask our friends to get some help that's not us, you know? Talk to somebody that's got better ideas or has devoted their life to helping others. They might have better suggestions than we could come up with. Part of being a wise person is knowing our limitations. It's called humility. And there's nothing wrong with exercising humility. It is 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? So went an old thing on TV back in the days when I was young. Though I never actually saw it on our TV. I never saw that until I went and visited some friends in Pennsylvania. And we were watching, what were we watching on TV? I don't remember. But we were watching there, me and the kids, we were playing with whatever toys they had. I think they had some Sectars, and they had the Blue Thunder helicopter with the little Roy Scheider action figure. And 10 o'clock came around, and just before the news came on, it said, "It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are?" And it was a running gag around the house. "It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are?" "Yeah, they're right here." But I never actually saw that on the news or on TV until I got closer to a large urban center up in Pennsylvania. I believe it was. I believe they lived in King of Prussia, actually. Cool, cool. Oh, let's see. Am I going to make it another hour? I don't know. If I don't, I've made some good headway. That's for sure. Oh, I know what I can do too. There's shields. These guys have shields. I could probably paint their color, match their tunic color to their shield color. This is very video gamey, isn't it? Let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to pick up some of this blue, thin it down, and yeah. We'll match it to his drawers there. Of course, this is for a very simple miniatures game. It's a very introductory sort of a game called Song of Blades and Heroes. And, you know, if it helps people keep track of who's who and what's what, increasing the amount of that color on the figure, that's not a bad idea, you know. Kind of reminds me of how they would make different enemies in a video game, and they would just change the color palette on it, especially back in the old 8-bit days, you know. Nice job. If I do say so myself. It's not really a nice job, it's an adequate job. That's what it is. It's adequate. So, just like, say, speaking publicly, knowing your audience, again, with what I'm doing tonight, I'm painting these up so that I can know my audience. I'm not trying to impress people with 100% super duper, 100,000% the greatest 50-hour paint job on something. 60 hour, 80 hours, 100 hours. I'm interested in just getting something on the table, and sometimes that's all it takes. 3 colors and you're good to go, you know? All right, let's find a good color for these leather bits. Got an orange brown here that's kind of cool. I might try this. We'll use this orange brown, which I think needs some shaking here. So we'll use this orange brown, which is very similar to the old bubonic brown color. I think that's a good color for leather bits, in my opinion. IMHO. So I think I'll paint these straps up in that. I could go for a darker brown maybe. And if I do want to go for darker brown, I can do that later on. Maybe pick up a little black, just see what happens. That kind of makes that gross. That turns that into a green. That's a greenish color, adding that black in there. Yuck. Yuck. Icky. There's an idea. So let's go ahead and just use this brown. This orange brown here, or brown orange. Whichever you want to call it. Although I should probably do these straps after I paint the metal bits. Yeah. Well, let's just see how it looks. Oh, I'm a little out of line there, aren't I? I don't know if I like that. I don't know that I like it. Well, it's a lighter color, so we can go over it with the darker color later on if we have to, and it's going to be okay. Don't know if I like it. I think it'd probably be a good highlight color for a darker brown, but I don't think by itself I don't like it. Too bright. It's really too bright. But then again, if I knock it down with a wash, who knows where it'll take me. Do I keep going or do I trust the process? I'm going to say I'm going to change because I think that's really too bright. I really do. I think it's too bright. course, once it dries, it might dry darker and look. My mind might change, you know. I need a water break. Drink a water. Drink some water. This is Zen water. I got this at Big Lots. No, sorry, not Big Lots. Big Lots is gone. I got it at Save a Lot, of all things. 100% recycled ocean-bound plastic. So, but this is not my sponsor. I'm sponsored by Dubby. If you want to try a great energy drink, they have both caffeine and caffeine-free drinks. Hydration drinks with electrolytes, as well as caffeine-based booster drinks, but all sugar-free. And up until at least yesterday, if you went to their site and used their 2025 code, BF2025, you would get 50% off of your purchase. However, if that is up and they're not using it anymore, you can use my code ROKKITFUEL. That's Rocket Fuel, ROKKITFUEL at dubby.gg. For 10% off your purchase. Last month, it was 30% off your purchase. So sometimes they do little deals like that. But definitely go to dubby.gg and get on the mailing list. Just a thought. So I think I'm going to switch over to this medium brown called Dirt Spatter from Army Painter. It's the older Army Painter war paints. So I think we'll use that instead. See how that works for us. I'm going to go ahead and hit it with the old Typhoon here. Alright, so that's a nice brown. We'll try that, and you know what? We can even mix some of that orange brown into it if we have to, and see where that takes us. Alright, let's see. Let's go ahead and continue on with this guy here. And I'm going to paint his little pouches here and the like. I'm going to use a little bit of Merlin's Magic Medium as well, instead of using water to thin this. Let's go ahead and use Merlin's Magic Medium. Put a drop or two there. Thin it out without breaking the paint down so badly. That's the one thing about water, is water will tend to break your paint down, and you don't want that. So just going to go ahead and it's a little bit thinner than I wanted it, so it's working a little bit more glazy-ish. That's okay. Usually I work from dark colors up. So maybe if I use this Dirt Spatter, and then I could use the orange brown or brown orange, whatever you want to call it, up from that. I don't know. On the other hand, using it as a glaze, it's kind of just staining out the that ochre colored undercoat that I did, and yeah, that works. It works pretty well, but it's still not exactly what I'm looking for. I want to get a good consistent base color before I use washes on that. Then you've got these skulls hanging off of his belt here. I guess he thinks he's some kind of tough gnoll. Some kind of tough guy, huh? You know what I mean? And then there's some foot wraps here. We'll go ahead and do them up in this color. Maybe I'll add a little bit to this dark color here. This weird dark color that I came up with, this greenish brown here. Maybe I'll just do those foot wraps in that. Oh, that's kind of cool. That really stands out. I kind of like that. So on my YouTube page, I have got a poll in the posts section, because you can write posts on YouTube, believe it or not. And the question is, do gnolls have feet or do they have paws? So if you want, you can go over to my YouTube page and cast your vote for feet or paws. Do gnolls have feet or do they have paws? Good question, right? Here I go getting all technical. I don't want technical paint on this. I just want to get done. Don't want to do the technical paints. Don't want to get fancy. Trying to avoid the fanciness here. Trying to avoid the fancy. Hey, Miar, how's it going? Good to see you tonight. Did it snow at your house? I think I know the answer to that. Sure snowed here. I got stuck on a at an inspection today, and I had to have my customer tow me out. Of all things, that's a little embarrassing. But what was funny is I knew where he lived. I knew where the house was because he moved into an old friend of mine's house, and so I knew where it was, and I had a feeling that I was going to get stuck when I went up there. Anyhow, but it still didn't make it feel as good. I'm checking in before bed. I think I'm getting sick. Oh heck yeah, it snowed. Okay, yeah. Oh well, I hope you don't get sick. I hope you headed off at the pass, so to speak. There, Miar. Take care of yourself. Get a good night's rest, and maybe you'll feel better in the morning. Here I go, being all fancy, trying to do a wet blend for highlights. I said I'm not gonna be fancy. Why are you all letting me be fancy? I don't want to be fancy. I just want to paint. Oh, here we go. Here we go. All right. Yeah, I figured it snowed where you are, Miar. No doubt. No doubt at all. But kind of didn't expect to get quite as much as we did here, but we had 4 wrecks this morning by 6 in the morning, so I didn't have 4 wrecks, but there were 4 wrecks reported in the county. So that was weird. But yeah, well, I hope you're not getting sick. I hope you get a good night's rest and feel better in the morning, my friend. It was weird since Saturday. I felt like I had something stuck in my throat, and now I'm not feeling too hot. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You probably got something. There's stuff that's gonna start going around now that the weather's gotten cold. For sure, for sure. I asked the doctor one time why people get cold when it gets sick. When it gets cold, why people get sick more often, even though the cold and sickness aren't really necessarily linked to each other. He said, well, viruses like to stay warm just like anybody else. So they will seek out your warmth for their well-being. I said, well, that makes sense. That's about the most logical reasoning I can think of. Because they say that just being cold is not enough to really make you sick. But when things get cold, viruses seek warmth, just like you or I. Like, that just makes, to me, that just made a lot of sense. I said, Doc, why is that? Miar says, went to the walk-in clinic and did exactly like he did last time and gave me a strep test, said negative. Well, that's good. Told me it must be viral and send me home. Look at back of throat, but not down my throat. That one guy is horrible. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I always hate a lot of those. Last time I went to urgent care, I did not feel like I was given good service. I felt like he barely looked at me. He didn't even feel like he listened to what I had to say, you know. I did not feel that the level of care was I didn't feel that. Oh, good. Glad to see the Gnolls getting complete. Yes, yes, they are completing. I am working on them. I'm making progress. Of course, last Saturday I had the Thanksgiving. Not Saturday. Last Thursday, I had the Thanksgiving stream, so I didn't get anything done on them then. And I don't remember if I did anything on them. Oh, Saturday I slept. Friday I worked around the house. Sunday I just vegged, but then later on in the afternoon I got up and I based all these goblins. So there's another unit for Song of Blades and Heroes. And let's see. That's another 12 goblins right there. So I might be painting these after I get done with the gnolls. So there's another warband for Song of Blades and Heroes. This guy is bad every time. I like the other. Yeah. I've had some that are just terrific, and I've had some that are just awful. Sometimes you should. Sometimes you have to say, "Hey, I want you to listen to what I have to say. This is important because this is how I'm feeling, and the only way you're going to be able to treat me is if you listen to what I have to say." Because you need this history. Because you try to tell them some of your history. I always get sick around this time of year. I get bronchitis, whatever your issue is. And then if they don't listen to you, then they don't give you the full range of the things that you need to get well, and you can actually get worse by not getting the full treatment that you need. So let's see. I'm going to ban the bot. Ban the bot. Report the bot. Bot. Selling viewers. Bye bot. Yep. Clankers. So then I monkeyed around on Sunday afternoon. I based all these guys. I made some rat swarms. So I based up some rat swarms. I thought that might be pretty cool. Maybe this guy summons up some rat swarms. So I got 4 of those. I got 3 rat swarms with 4 rats on each 40 millimeter base. I thought that looked pretty cool. I'm probably going to get some 2-part epoxy putty, either green stuff or JB Weld putty, and finish out those bases so I can sculpt in that cobblestone look. So I thought that was pretty cool. So I got those out. I got those based up and ready to go for the next project. Next project, I should say. Need to get more green stuff. Yep. But in a pinch, you can go to Walmart and get a product from JB Weld called Instant Plastic. That's what I use a lot of times because I don't need to do a lot of high-level sculpting. I just need to fill in and make a very simple pattern. So then there's these guys, these arachnid warriors. So got 3 of those guys, stuck those together, stuck the torsos to the body. And then there's these spiders that I started working on a while back, which they have the same pattern on them. So 1, 2, so I got all together between the three arachnid warriors and the 6 spiders here, all of similar sculpting styles. So that's 9. That's another 9-member warband for Song of Blades and Heroes. Drop those over there. I've got some bat swarms. I thought these might be pretty cool. Bat swarms. Na 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 na. Bat swarms. So bat swarms, 3 of those. Bats and rats. And then some of my favorite sculpts from Reaper are these orcs by Bob Ollie. So this is going to be, what is that? There's 6 of those guys. I've got 6 of these in the case, all on bases and completed already. So that's going to be 12 orc swordsmen. I've got 6 orc bowmen. And I'm going to get some more of these spearmen as soon as they come back into stock. So we'll finish out that warband and that bunch of bones. So I basically don't think I ever have to really buy much in the way of miniatures ever again, other than to finish out, just the odd package here and there to finish out some of these projects. So that's the plan. I can't remember who said it, but all green stuff is the same no matter the company. Yeah. Spider people. Reaper has spider people. Reaper has these guys. Reaper has some other guys too. I think gals, ladies. And then they've got one big main Lareth type spider queen lady thing. But yeah, they would have it. I wish I had to as much as I do with Reaper figures. I wish they'd be awesome to have an affiliate link with them, but I don't know if they do that. I don't have enough people to watch. And then of course I've got these 3 owlbears. Have you hugged an owlbear today? Has an owlbear hugged you? We'll call that a different species of owlbear. Maybe the southern one. They're a little skinnier. They're a little skinnier than your usual owlbear. It's a weird pose. But, whatever. So, that is a plan. That is a plan. So, where are we here? What am I doing here? So, my 3 main dudes. Red, green, and blue. My 3 archers, red, green, and blue. My three axemen, red, green, and blue. Let me go ahead and pick up a little bit of this. Oh, I must have gotten some metallics in this cup of water. Ugh. Gross. So, let's see. What do we got here? Bows and arrows. Straps. Straps. So this guy here looks like they were based on the same body, but this guy's head is smaller. This guy over here is a little more hunched over, it looks like. This guy's got more stuff on his belt. Got an extra strap on his shield as well. So they are definitely 2 different figures. But I think this was the one that came in the original Bones. This one was a follow-up. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think you can get this one anymore. I think this one is discontinued and this one took its place. So, I don't know. Anyhow. That's what's going on. So set this guy aside here, and we'll throw a couple more licks of paint on these straps. We got about 10 minutes more before it's time to say goodnight. I may not raid out tonight just because I need to get to bed quick. If I raid, whenever I raid, I always wind up staying up later than I should. But I always like raiding out and supporting my fellow streamers. I think I can probably forego raiding out this time. This one time. This one time, will it be okay? All right, good night, Miar. Have a good night's sleep. I'm glad you stopped in. Glad to see you. Stay well, friend. Stay well. Yeah, yeah, thank you. Yep, definitely. I got a big day ahead of me tomorrow. Oof. Not looking forward to calling up customers that I had ready to go. And say, oh, I've got this other thing I gotta do because this place caught fire and I gotta go see what happened. Nothing I did, pretty sure. But I gotta get it up and running. Long story. I'll tell you about it next time. So we'll just get these little straps right here. I think I'll finish getting these straps on this guy, maybe his foot wraps here. We'll do the wrap on his flail as well. We'll finish up all these little straps, and then we'll call it an evening, I think. Alright, I think that's all the straps, at least undercoated, on this guy here. And if they're not perfect, that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. But we'll go ahead and put a pin in it and leave that there for this evening. It is 10 till 11, and tomorrow comes early. So as you can see, I've got a lot of neat little projects set up for a Song of Blades and Heroes or any other miniatures agnostic game, or just coming up with some rules on the fly. Who knows, you know? There's nothing that says I have to use these figures with that game or the like. Very miniatures agnostic. It's a time-honored tradition of one set of rules, some from one provider, and a set of miniatures from another, and no one knows what each other is doing. And it is up to you, the hobbyist, to put them together and come up with your own entertainment. It wasn't until Games Workshop showed up that we started having a one-stop shop for rules and minis and paints and all hobby supplies. It was, you had to really be into it back in the day to really make a go of it. But it's nice that more people are getting into it, and it gives those people a nice break from the ordinary. So, anyhow, we will take a break from the ordinary and go to bed, and yeah, I'm going to call it an evening. Thank you all for being here this evening. Appreciate you all. And it is time to go. And I'm going to say goodnight to Rumble and YouTube. Remember, the sun is coming up tomorrow, and the world is a better place with you in it. Good night, everybody, over on